And away we go. It's just me. I'm not sure if Eric's going to join, and I can't say if Risk is going to join as well. But, well, life goes on. Or something equivalent to that. So, let's jump right into the news and dive deep to those that not many may not hear about. OpenAI scrubs mention of Jony Ive partnership after judges ruling over trademark dispute. OpenAI pulled public materials on its $6.5 billion acquisition on Jony Ive's AI startup IO Products due to a legal dispute. A judge granted a restraining order barring OpenAI from using the IO name amid a trademark lawsuit from IYO, a Google-backed hardware startup. The judge ruled that IYO has a strong trademark infringement case that will proceed to an October hearing. Well, this just comes to show it's the early bird gets the worm, first come, first serve when it comes to having some form of ownership on what you call things or whatnot. Now, it's a bit out of the blue. What if there was some system where no. I was gonna say, do it like an auction where the highest bidder gets to hold ownership to a particular trademark for a certain amount of period of time, and to renew it, or at least extend the period of time you have that trademark, you will have to put in additional upfront cost. Now, the only thing is, how would that work? It's going to be very complicated, and different countries have certain things trademarked for different industries or sectors. Because the thing is, you can have two things go by the same name, but for different industries. Or at least that's what Shadowminer told me. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see how that would pan out, but it's going to be complicated by country. Like, different countries have different systems for trademarking names, words, and other stuff, as well as how money is going to be transactioned and flowed. Today, one can think, and some might hope, but it's going to be a challenge to make that reality, because, well, it's complicated. We don't know how that's going to work. Anthropic wins, ruling on AI training in copyright lawsuit, but must face trial on pirated books. A federal judge ruled late Monday that Anthropic legally trained its AI model, Cloud, using millions of copyrighted books without authors' permission. The ruling follows a lawsuit filed last year by authors alleging Anthropic using pirated books to build a central library and train its AI, constituting large-scale theft. Judge Alsup found Anthropic's AI training transformative and fair use, but ordered a trial on damages related to pirated copies stored in the company's central library. Judge Alsup stated that Anthropic was not authorized to incorporate illegally obtained copies into its main library, and confirmed that a trial will determine the liability and damages associated with the use of these unauthorized materials. The ruling represents a significant legal win for AI firms, while signaling ongoing challenges over copyright enforcement and fair use in AI development. We're going to be hearing more about this in the next few years, because AI is getting smarter, and there's going to be more high-stake concerns regarding trademarks, the rights to use such content, or intellectual properties. There's going to have to be some policy or legislation or other forms of regulation regarding what AI uses to train its model, or what AI uses, or at least a prompt made by users, and if there's anything copyrighted or trademarked that comes out as a result from that prompt, and then the user in question then promotes that AI generated content with copyrighted or trademarked elements. That is very, very complicated, and I hope something does go ahead with that. Like, I do hope that there is a way where AI can continue to grow, but it does not infringe on the trademarks or the copyrights of individuals, entities, or organizations. Otherwise, you're just not giving credit. And also, the reason why people would copyright or trademark stuff is because if you have something that is of high value, either financially or culturally, surely there has to be some kind of benefit for the creator in question, or whoever's holding the copyright or trademark. That's all I can say, and it's all I know. So it's a start, but there's more that needs to be done. So hopefully more is to be done, and things will improve for the future. Buy now, pay later loans will factor into Americans' credit scores. This week, FICO announced it will include buy now, pay later loans in credit reports and launch new credit scores incorporating buy now, pay later data. FICO's new credit scoring initiative aims to fill a gap for lenders by including buy now, pay later repayment data, which has previously been overlooked in assessing consumer credit behavior. The new FICO Score 10 buy now, pay later models are designed to assist lenders in better evaluating the creditworthiness of individuals, particularly those whose initial credit experiences come from buy now, pay later loans. More than 55% of Americans have used buy now, pay later services, with about 20% having incurred late fees or interest, while nearly half faced financial problems, including overspending, according to surveys. Experts warn that buy now, pay later's ease and installment structure may encourage overspending and debt, making FICO's inclusion of buy now, pay later data a step toward better credit risk evaluation. And Eric just joined the chat.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, just talking about how, so, buy now, pay later.
It is 101 degrees in New York right now.
Really? 101 degrees Fahrenheit? Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be like 40 degrees Celsius.
yeah. I just went to my weather app and it's like it's close to it's in the hundreds.
Goodness me.
Yeah, it's a good thing they didn't. It's a good thing they told me I didn't have to work today. That I have to work outside, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just terrible. But anyways, yeah, it's like dang, yeah, definitely. I'm definitely not leaving my house now or anymore. But anyways, yeah, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Yes. So I was reading a report about how there's going to be some new kind of credit score. There's going to be a new way of scoring so Americans' credit based on buy now, pay later scheme. So there's different models for measuring Americans' credit, whether with or without using the buy now, pay later system. Because, well, because people think I can just get this now and then I'll just pay it in installments later. But then over time, people forget to pay whatever installments they had to pay for whatever they had to purchase for whatever item they wanted to buy. So yeah, pretty much because of buy now pay later, most people are having. I think I'm not sure if there are additional fees that have to be paid if they don't pay it on time. I think they should, because if they don't, well, people think, oh, I'll just pay like the full price later on and I'd still get it now. And then a few weeks go by, they still haven't paid even a third, or not even a quarter of the price of what they were supposed to pay when they were buying whatever they wanted to pay using buy now, pay later.
Well, I will say this about the buy now, pay later. I don't know why anybody would want to do it. I mean, unless you were just really financially struggling. I could see why you would do that. But ultimately speaking, it's like I don't think anyone should stoop down to that level. It's like, okay, sorry. It's like, okay, I can buy this and pay later, but then, then it's all gonna add up, and then you're probably gonna keep buying now and paying later, and then eventually you're just gonna put yourself into debt. It's just not a good deal all in all. I mean, shoot. I mean, unless you can somehow work around it where it's like, you can buy the stuff and not be able to and not have to pay, unless you can somehow maneuver yourself around that, then cool. But even still, you should not do that. You should not fall for that scam or scheme.
I think buy now pay later is more of a scheme than a scam. Like if it was a scam, most people would not be using it right now. I think the issue is there isn't some form of payment confirmation like before actually going to buy now pay later. Because I'm assuming buy now pay later is okay, you confirm it, but then in the next few days you will have to pay a quarter of the price that you were supposed to pay. And then the following week you pay another quarter, next week after that another quarter, and then the week after that you then pay the final quarter. But surely there has to be at least a portion of that price that people have to pay to at least confirm they are going to pay it over time. Because if you don't pay anything now, the moment you see you want to buy something, and you do want to buy something now, then who's to say people are just going to use the system of buy now pay later because they believe they could just pay it later, like couple days after confirming that they were going to buy something at that moment in time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll be honest. I couldn't put it any other way better. Like that. That's true. That is true, and that is a good point. That is a fair point as well. A really fair point. But yeah, it's like it's just yeah. Like I guess most people will just learn the hard way then. Like just to figure out just to and then realize why they should not be participating in something such as that. But either way, let's see what else is in the news.
Why did YouTuber Michaela Raines, founder of Save a Fox, take her life?
Yes, I heard of that news.
Me too.
Yeah, it's very sad. But yeah, you can read it for the viewers on why she took her life.
YouTube star and animal rescue founder Michaela Raines was unalived by suicide on June 24th, 2025, at age 29 in Minnesota. Raines took her life after enduring years of online bullying from various sources, including people she knew and rival sanctuaries. In 2016, she launched Save a Fox, a non-profit organization in Minnesota focused on the rescue and rehabilitation of foxes, and grew her YouTube channel to over 2.4 million subscribers. Her husband Ethan revealed that she was overwhelmed by her emotions and took her own life, and he vowed to carry on her work to protect foxes. This tragedy highlights the severe impact of sustained online harassment on vulnerable individuals and the ongoing commitment to animal rescue her family plans to uphold.
The thing I don't get about that is why would you bully someone online just for simply rescuing animals? It's like I'll be honest, from what we've read right there, she was simply trying to make the world a better place for animals to live in. I really don't see a reason why anyone would bully her for that. I believe people were just pretty much bullying her just to kind of troll her because they knew how vulnerable and sensitive she was, and she knew that she would sustain to the pressure. But I just honestly don't get it. I really don't. It's like the people who bullied her should be ashamed of themselves because ultimately speaking, man, it's like there's this person out here trying to make the world a better place for animals and foxes, for all animals and foxes. Meanwhile, you're sitting there doing nothing but just typing on your phone and just harassing someone for doing something that you can't do.
Yeah,
Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, when I heard about this on a TikTok video, I've looked at the comments, and there's a few. Now, I'm not saying it's true, because I'm not fully aware, or nor I've checked this fully yet. The comments on the TikTok video reporting the story in question, they said that she sold out to companies making fur. That's like roughly some comments that people said that may potentially tie in with the negative comments that allegedly may have been responsible for Michaela taking her own life.
I see.
Again, I'm not too sure about that, but if it's not true, then well, that is very damning. And of course, if it is true, then I mean, I guess I know people have every right to be mad, but that you can't. But given the circumstances of what has happened to her, surely we have to put aside something, regardless of opinions. Someone lost their life, and no one should ever go through that. Like, she has a family. We all have families. Her family would be devastated hearing the news right now, regardless of what people are saying about what would have led to her taking her own life and other behind the scenes stuff. We can't be too sure because we're not in that position. We don't. There aren't many people that know her closely, like her family or even her husband does.
Yeah. And regardless of the circumstances, you should not bully someone to the point of suicide. That's not okay. That's not okay. That's not okay in the slightest. Because it's like, it's one thing to just disagree with someone and the choices that they've made, and your business. But it's another thing to harass them so much to the point where they either contemplate on taking their own life, or just to the point where they legitimately take their own life because it's just too much for them to handle. I will say this though. For anybody who is just like her, sensitive and vulnerable as she is, I don't think like the internet is like the right place for you. I don't think like you should be in it. No, may she rest in peace. But I am saying though, if you can't like there are people who are built to like take the internet's criticism and be like, okay, whether if it's constructive criticism or whether if it's just unnecessary criticism. And there are people who just cannot deal with that. And I would say if you're one of those people who can't like deal with that, that's fine. But you should not become like, you shouldn't make yourself like known on the internet or become an influencer or anything like that, unless you're willing to turn off the comments on everything. But even like, unless you're literally willing to turn off the comments on everything. But even still, like people can like find a way to reach out to you and like make their criticisms known. I would say the internet is not for like people like that. Obviously people like that are like precious, and people like that clearly have like more of a softer side to them. I think that is the nicest way I can put it, because I'm really not trying to be. It's just there was just no reason for that. There's really just no reason for that. There's really, I would say like yeah, sure, constructive criticism is fine. If you want to critique something, and somebody just is sensitive about a constructive criticism, I'm not gonna be mad at. I'm not gonna be mad at like I'm not gonna feel bad for a person who gets easily like just triggered over constructive criticism. But if you're just harassing someone and bullying someone, then yeah, it's like man, you need your phone taken away from you, or you just need something better to do. Because I don't know, it's like, but that's just me. That's just me, though. Hopefully, she is resting in peace, and it's just a sad thing to see when, like we hear that someone dies because of like due to suicide and harassment on the internet.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, honestly, and there's really nothing that we can do about it. All we can do is just like be better and become better. But let's face it, over the years, we're probably gradually going to get worse, with some of us we're still remaining sane to a degree. Man, I'll be honest, man. I feel like, I don't know, man. If it wasn't for the internet, I think most people would just remain quiet about their criticisms. I don't know. The internet is just it. The internet is just too convenient for people who are afraid of confrontation. Low key, I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's like sometimes I'm afraid of confrontation. Sometimes, because it's like sometimes I just don't want to
But if I have an opinion, and I know it's and I know it's just constructive criticism, or just like, something that I think that needs critiquing, then I'll say it. Even if someone replies to it or not. But I don't know, man. The internet has just made a lot of people brave, a lot of people soldiers, or false soldiers. But nonetheless, it is a sad day though. For her husband, for the rest of her family, for her friends, for anyone who actually actively cared about her and was in her life. It's a sad day for them. It's a sad day for her fans as well. So let's show her some respect, and hopefully she's resting in peace right now. I know the noise of the world can be a bit like just tiring and a bit crazy. And shoot, sometimes it's like, yeah, it's like it would be easier to do that, or just go, or just like, go. And at times, some people would just wish that, like, they were just lifted up into the sky, and then that's it. They just disappear, like a rapture of some sort. But nonetheless, let's not, like, for people who are mad at her about something, or just harassing her for no reason. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You really ought to be ashamed of yourself. But yeah, it's a sad day, definitely, for her fans, and I believe summer is just starting. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Pixar's Elio breaks a 30-year box office record for worst opening weekend in studio history.
For worst opening weekend in studio history. Okay, let's hear about this worst opening.
Pixar's original animated film, Elio, opened with a domestic haul of $21 million, marking the worst opening weekend in the studio's history in 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, Elio's week debut follows similar marketing and scheduling challenges faced by Pixar's 2023 film, Elemental, which previously held the lowest opening record at $29.6 million. Although Elio received favorable reviews and featured actors such as Yunus Kabirib and Zoe Saldana, it finished behind How to Train Your Dragon and Sony's 28 years later sequel in weekend ticket sales. Analyst David A. Gross described Elio's performance as a weak opening for a new Pixar movie, highlighting a domestic total well under the 25 to 30 million projections. The poor performance intensifies concerns about Pixar's original features amid an industry trend favoring sequels and live-action remakes, though upcoming sequels like Toy Story 5 remain slated for release.
Well, to the average Joe like myself, 21 million is a hefty amount. But considering the fact that they're a company and they're used to, a certain amount, yeah, that is pretty low. That is extremely low for them. Obviously to the average Joe like myself, that is a good amount of money. But to them, yeah, that is low. Shoot, I'll be honest. It'd be sadder if they only made 10 million.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be terrible. Once again, average Joe, 10 million is pretty good. But to them, that's horrible. That is horrible. But yeah, I'm not worried about them though. They'll bounce back. Especially I think with Toy Story 5 they'll make a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah. I'm not worried about them. They're not going broke. So, yep. They just gotta dust off their feet. They'll be fine. They got this. But
I do think the issue is when studios release a new feature film, they're always fixated to the mind that they'll release it in traditional theaters and think that people in this day and age would go to the theater to specifically see that movie when we have online streaming services where you can watch all the movies we could ever want to watch in the convenience of in our own home. What I want to know is, why the bloody heck have they not actually have a digital release alongside theatricals? Because I feel like most studios would make just as much, or if not much more money in box office revenue had they had released it on streaming services instead of just having it released in theaters. Because Who, like, honestly, who goes out to theaters to watch movies anymore? I mean, there are some they'll still do, but the general population, what's the need to go out to the theaters if we have streaming services that have all the movies we could watch,
That's
either old and new, in all genres, in the conveniences of our own home?
You know what? That's a mighty good question. I would say personally, man, it's a sad thing too. I really do like movie theaters, but at the same time, you're absolutely right. Why would anybody go out of their way just to go all the way to a movie theater, make plans, have a free day when they can just watch it from the comfort of their own home? Like with these streaming services nowadays, it's just more convenient to stay home, especially if you have to go to work the next day and you don't have and you just don't have time to really go to the movie theaters. I can say that with movie theaters, I believe they'll last for another couple of years, but I'm not really sure how long movie theaters will be around. And that's the sad part, bro. That seems like the last, probably not the last, but the last classic thing that we do. We do. Is like go out to the movie theaters and just do that. I feel like movie theaters still have value, but at the same time, because of these streaming platforms, their value is slowly deteriorating, and there's gonna be slowly no need for a physical movie theater because we can just do all of this stuff from home. That's the thing. I can watch any movie I want from any streaming platform I want. So why would I go out of my way just to watch a movie in the movie theater when I can just do it at home? That's the future for you.
Yes, it certainly is, and I'm surprised not many studios are taking advantage of that, especially during COVID, when everyone was in their homes for at least up to 2 years. When any movies had to be released, there had to be some kind of digital version that has to be shown to people. I'm surprised not many studios have taken advantage of that, even after COVID lockdowns. That
Hmm.
would have been that would have been so beneficial for them.
It really would. It really would have too. I'm pretty sure there are some movie theaters that actually closed because of COVID.
Yes, and that is the point. There will be movie theaters at the time of the lockdowns that will close because of the lockdowns. And once you get digitally from your own home would be the only option. And
Yeah.
that would be beneficial for everyone. The viewers, the studios making the films, and the people part of those films.
You know what? I think there's only one. I think when it comes to movie theaters, if physical theaters fizzle out, there's only one way that they can truly be saved. They have to go digital. They have to just go streaming. They have to make their own streaming platforms.
Yeah,
Like
it totally makes sense.
yeah, it's like think about it. Regal Theaters, AMC, they would have to make their own streaming platforms because it's like if no one is going to a physical movie theater anymore, then bro, you're gonna easily go out of business. The only thing you can do is adapt with the times. Unless they want to do like Blockbuster did and not adapt with the times and then
I
go out of
was
business.
going to say, look at what happened to Blockbuster. The
Exactly.
rest is history.
Exactly. Just look what happened to Blockbuster. Like Blockbuster didn't get with the times, and I somewhat understand. I somewhat understand, but at the same time, it was a stupid thing to not get with the times. In terms of business. Obviously, if they didn't do it for for their own their own reason, their own personal reasons, fine. But from a business standpoint, it was stupid not to get with the times. It was stupid not to go digital because just now look at Blockbuster. It's out of business. I'm pretty sure there's some parts in the world where there is probably actually still a Blockbuster. I'm gonna be honest with you, but there's probably not that many parts of the world where there is a Blockbuster. But for the most part, Blockbuster is just out of business. It's out of here, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. So yeah, I would say there's gonna be a time where movie theaters are no longer needed, unfortunately. And I'm probably gonna be there. I'm probably gonna be in the movie theater before I'm probably gonna be in the movie theater before they completely close down completely. But yeah, it's it's either go digital or just go out of business. You just have to get with the times. Obviously there are people there's certain things that I don't mind change with, and there are certain things that I wish would not change. But that's just the world we live in. Our world is ever changing, and it's ever evolving, and our slangs are getting ever more ridiculous. I'm gonna be honest. Just with slang and all that stuff. The way we talk is getting still remaining. I would say, yeah, the only thing that remains the same is how we talk, unless you count slang as evolving, wordplay. But yeah, you just gotta business wise evolve with the times. Otherwise, you're gonna get left behind. That's all you can do.
Yes, very true.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to sell to a specific business or a specific streaming platform for your own personal reasons, I understand. I do. I would just hope that person would save the money that they've earned from the business that they've built from a physical theater and try to live off that. Maybe invest it in some trades, some stocks, all of that, so the money can at least last. That's all I want. All I want. It's because at the end of the day, stop hiring. We're gonna get to that in a minute. All right, but yeah, yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute. But yeah, it's my point is, yeah, things aren't gonna go well if you don't get with the times as far as digital wise. And I would suggest that AMC, every major movie theater, make their own streaming platforms now before they completely go out of business entirely. I would actually want them to. And you know what? I would support that. Well, maybe not support it all the time, but I'm pretty sure there are people who would actually support that. Plus, yeah, I would say they would make a lot of money from it. And I don't think
very true.
Yeah, and I don't think digital media is going away for a very long time at all, actually. But yeah. Anyways, let's talk about what you sent in the chat.
Yes.
Stop hiring humans. The era of AI employment is here. So let's dissect that. What are your thoughts, Jame?
Well, no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. What?
We should not replace humans with AI. The era of AI humans has not arrived, and even if it did, we should not be reliant on artificial intelligence or other automated entities. Because if we did that, what happens to us humans? What purpose do we serve? Are we just ending our own existence on this planet?
I 100% agree. What really would happen to us as humans? What would our purpose even be? What would even be the point of being born at all, whatsoever? Just to do nothing? Just to sit around, get lazy, and get fat? I mean, what's the point? I mean, replacing regular humans with AI humans, that's dumb. I mean, why would anyone even promote this on Threads, first off? I mean, hold on. Let me see. Are we living in a Black Mirror episode? Yeah, are we living in a Black Mirror episode? I mean, I'll be honest. So you're telling me,
how can we say that we're not?
Yeah, it's how can we truly say that we're not? So you're telling me a capable human posted this ad somewhere on their spare time and yeah, let's do this. Let's stop real humans from working, and let's put our faith and trust in AI because that is the new digital technology. That's what all the hip people are using. Why?
Do you know what the worst part of it all is?
What's the worst part, Jame?
They intended it to phrase the advertising like that because they know people will be outraged. They can get tons of coverage with people reacting to that, and it's working. Even us, we're talking about it. I know there are people that know exactly what would happen if AI was to take over, and even this was even close to happening. It won't even happen in the next few decades. For now, for a couple more years, we'll be alright. But of course, this kind of advertising that they did here, like I showed in the Discord chat, they intentionally planned to promote it that way to get a reaction. And they did just that. They achieved that in more ways than we could ever anticipate.
Yeah, I 100% agree as well. They definitely intended on getting a reaction, and they got a reaction from us. They got a reaction from other people. They got exactly what they wanted from us, the public. And you're absolutely right too. This isn't going to really affect us for the next couple of decades. Yeah, it's not really going to affect us now, but when it does affect us, well, we warned you and we talked about it. But most people don't really want to listen to that. Most people don't really care about the future. They care about the now. They care about the now as far as their own lives go. Most people don't want to be bothered to think about the future until the future is actually here, until it actually affects them. Then they're going to be like, "Oh, why didn't we get told about this when we're told about this? You were warned, yet you didn't want to listen during that time. And now because of that, you're either broke or you're controlled to a degree, to a high degree, and you have to choose a side, whether you're in society or you're out society, or you're not working or you're like." I guess my point is, most people need a backup plan right now, because if you're working in a job where you can easily get replaced by AI, then yeah, you need to start looking. You need to start looking for something else, or at least have a second or third job, or a backup for your backup, something that you do on the side, but you're prepared. But you're prepared to do full time once like stuff hits the fan. That's really all you can do, is just have a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan. Hold on just a minute. I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay. Anyways, like I was saying, you need to have a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan, or just be 3 to 5 steps ahead of the people who are trying to replace you, so that you're still living comfortably. So if you want to have a family, someday, you won't have to worry about providing for them, because ultimately speaking, yeah, you would have thought way ahead of them. Do you have anything else?
Well, I got nothing else to add.
Okay. Well, let's see what's in the news.
But then, second batch of Amazon satellites launched by Colorado Rocketeer.
All right, interesting. Let's hear more.
Amazon's second batch of Kuiper Internet satellites launched on Monday, adding to its plans for a large satellite constellation and increasing competition with SpaceX's Starlink. A United Launch Alliance rocket successfully lifted off 27 Kuiper satellites from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida at 6:54 a.m. Amazon's Project Kuiper aims to compete with SpaceX's Starlink and must meet a Federal Communications Commission deadline to launch 1,618 satellites by July 2026. After Monday's launch, Amazon aims to have a total of over 3,200 satellites, increasing its current count 54, according to Amazon.
Interesting. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, on the upside, it's nice to see there is going to be an increase of internet connection, so everyone can have access to the internet, because, well, although life existed before the internet, but ever since the internet has been introduced, and evolutions of it, it has become more integral in our lives, and it's given us so much more opportunities than we could ever imagine. But of course, it's not over yet. We have to wait and see if Amazon's efforts of the Kuiper satellites can match up to SpaceX's Starlink. Because although there is an addition, there's a second provider of satellites by another big major organization or company. Well, the question is, will it actually push Starlink to innovate beyond its current capabilities?
That's a good question. Will it? Will it? And my answer is, I don't know if it will or if it will not. But the point is, if it does push them, if it does push them to be better, then I say that there's no problem. You always want to be better in some way, shape, or form. But nonetheless, we have to. Only time will tell Only time will tell how this will affect anybody or anything. So we just have to wait and see. But yeah,
Indeed, we shall.
we shall. But is there anything else in the news?
Australia regulator calls to add YouTube to under 16 social media ban.
Under 16 social media ban on YouTube. Huh.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Let's hear this news and let's hear why.
On June 24th, E-Safety Commissioner Julie Iman-Grant formally recommended that YouTube be included in Australia's upcoming ban on social media use by children under 16. This recommendation is supported by research revealing that 7 out of 10 young people between the ages of 10 and 15 have been exposed to harmful online material, with YouTube identified as the most frequently used platform where such content is encountered. Ms. Iman Grant highlighted that YouTube employs features such as infinite scroll, autoplay, and tailored algorithms that encourage excessive use and expose children to misogynistic, violent, and other harmful content.
Andrew
She, note,
Tate.
she
You know,
noted that YouTube is the social media platform most commonly used by young Australians, with nearly 37% reporting they have encountered harmful content there, reinforcing her argument to include the site in the upcoming under 16 social media restrictions. Communications Minister Anika Wells is reviewing the advice and draft rules before deciding which platforms the ban will cover, aiming to protect children when the ban takes effect from December 2025.
this is honestly a very good thing. You're trying to protect young kids from the harm that YouTube has, but what's stopping them from just faking?
That is a good point.
No,
There has to be some form of verification. Not just saying, "Oh, I'm 17. I can prove that I'm 17." That's the thing. There has to be some way to prove that whoever is using these platforms are above the legal age. And I have heard a couple sources a while ago that there is attempts to I'm not sure exactly, but roughly there is a test on hand-eye coordination. I think that would be a great idea because although children are good at some form of eye so although children are good with eye-hand coordination, the older they get, they become more stable, more efficient at that. And I think if there are children that cannot match up to what the abilities are with most average adults, I think that is a way to separate the young with the elder.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there has to be some form of verification that is just beyond saying how old you are and what is your date of birth. There has to be some kind of camera enabled test that proves that whatever the users that are using these platforms are above the legal age and they possess the same physical and mental capabilities as most adults, or at least the average adult.
That is so true. That is so true, and I 100% agree. And I 100% agree with that as well. So, I mean, but yeah, you know, I would say either way, they would still try to find some way around it. Some way around it. The real question is, well, to be fair, okay, I'm gonna be frank. I don't really have a real question for that. But yeah, it's we just have to wait and see how this goes because yeah, it can really go either way, honestly. So we just have to wait and see where this goes exactly. Because yeah, this can go either way. This can either go amazingly, or this can go badly. So yeah. So let's just wait and see what happens next. 'Cause I sure don't know what's gonna happen next. But yeah, these kids are always gonna find a way to get on the internet in some way, shape, or form, and that's just a known fact.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
I'm willing to see what's going to happen next. But is there anything else in the news?
First named storm of 2025 forms in Atlantic.
Interesting. Let's hear more.
Forecasters are monitoring a system in the Atlantic that could strengthen into a short-lived tropical depression on Monday, according to the National Weather Service. The National Hurricane Center reports that Tropical Storm Andrea formed over the Atlantic Ocean on Tuesday morning, making it the first named storm of the 2025 hurricane season. The system currently has a 40% chance of becoming a tropical cyclone, but poses no threat to land. A tropical depression has maximum sustained surface winds of 38 miles per hour or lower, as defined by the National Weather Service.
Do you have any initial thoughts on that?
Well, I don't have much to say regarding Tropical Storm Andrea, but I do recall last year, the last time the hurricanes have hit the United States and a lot of the Caribbean. Although storms may not get bigger than they currently are on average, the speed of the tropical storms building up will become faster, meaning it can take so little time. It could take like 3 minutes. I'm just guessing, maybe 3 minutes for a hurricane to start from Category 1 to Category 2, another 3 minutes from 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4, and then another 3 minutes from 4 to 5. That's the kind of speed we could see in this current hurricane season for 2025. Storms may not get bigger than the current Category 5, but the speed that it becomes a Category 5, the time will take will be a lot shorter, could be shorter. And of course, last year, what I recall, good old Shannon Miner had been through rough times when the hurricane hit North Carolina, that potentially caused some kind of delay in our project.
Like,
Generally speaking, hurricanes and storms are very dangerous nonetheless, and it's always never a good thing when they hit anywhere, or in any place. And they always do, like, a lot of damage to, like, whatever society that they're hitting. But hey, crazier things have happened. Shoot, God forbid a hurricane could hit New York. I feel like a hurricane has hit New York before, but I'm not really 100% sure.
It might have been a few years ago that a tropical storm might have gone that far.
Yeah, I would say like a few years ago. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not ruling it out, but I know that it probably happened a few years ago. I don't think it was. I don't think it was that bad. So bad where it's like everything got ruined. But at the same time, I don't know. Like the memory's kind of a blur. It's not. Yeah, it's not 100% clear. But nonetheless, you know, we would definitely see something like if it happens now. It could happen now, honestly. The crazier things have happened. Shoot, it's 100 degrees where I'm at right now. So yeah, crazier things have happened. So we would see. So we would see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to see. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. We just have to see what happens like next. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
World Bank grants South Africa a $1.5 billion loan for infrastructure upgrade and green energy transition.
Okay, let's hear about that loan.
On Monday, Pretoria, South Africa, secured a $1.5 billion development policy loan from the World Bank to support upgrades in its transport and energy infrastructure. The loan supports structural reforms aimed at improving energy security, freight transport efficiency, and advancing a low-carbon economy amid persistent economic challenges. South Africa faces slow growth, frequent power outages, and supply bottlenecks in rail and port logistics, which has hindered vital industries like mining and automotive manufacturing. The loan offers favorable terms, including a 16-year maturity with a 3-year grace period and interest rate of 6-month SOFR plus 1.49%, aligning with Treasury's financing strategies. This agreement reinforces collaboration with the World Bank and is expected to enable inclusive growth, job creation, and improve service delivery by addressing infrastructure bottlenecks.
Well, I will say this, man. Anything that is making Africa great again, like in terms of in terms of their infrastructure, and in terms of their general society, is good in my book. I would say I'm glad that that loan is definitely going to benefit them for in the long run. Because ultimately speaking, we've always known that Africa has had its ups and downs, has its wins and losses, and just generally struggled in the past. But I'm glad to hear. I'm definitely glad to hear this.
Yes.
This is definitely great news. So I'm happy with any country or just general society that is thriving or that is on their way to thriving. Yeah, that just means that the person who's running the country is determined to make Africa a bet. So yeah, I'm not. So yeah, it's pretty much yeah. There's not. I don't think there's much to say except good luck, and I just hope that they do keep doing great. They keep doing great things in the future, and now keep doing great things now, then, and in the distant future. Yeah. Do you have anything?
Well, it's nice to see that South Africa is doing the best it can to improve. However, although it is great that there is progress improving its infrastructure, having to take a loan from an international organization, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's a concern that if you had to go that far to ask for a loan from an international organization to pay for those upgrades in infrastructure, that tells me that although it's not bad, the the state of the nation's economy,
I get
it's it's a desperate need,
I get what
a
you're saying.
desperate.
Yeah, it's I get what you're saying. The loan thing is definitely a desperate need for help because it's they didn't necessarily have it to kind of make those changes themselves. And I completely understand that. And I completely understand that. And it's yeah. So, I mean, it's the yeah, you're absolutely right though. It's the fact that they needed to take out a loan to make these changes and make these things happen. That is, you know, I don't want to say questionable, but just concerning. You know, and I would assume that if they had the choice, if they had it like that, they would have not had to take out that loan. And even if they did take out a loan and they had it, they'd probably just pay it back if they had it like that. But who knows what's going to happen in the future? Hopefully, these improvements will help them.
I hope it really pays off.
Yeah, I hope it pays off too, so that they can pay off that loan that they took out too. Because yeah, it's a loan. You're gonna have to pay it back eventually.
And there is interest on top of that.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, there's interest, and they probably want however much you're getting from those updates from they would want something from in regards to those updates too, if it's helping your society thrive. But yeah, I would say either way, it's definitely something to look at and just something to pay attention to. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
France's Court of Auditors estimates $6.8 billion public spending for 2024 Paris Olympics.
Okay, let's hear more about this Paris Olympics.
On June 24th, 2025, France's National Audit Office released a preliminary estimate indicating that public expenditure for the Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games held in Paris and nearby areas in 2024 amounted to nearly €6 billion. The report followed the Games held from July 20th to September 8th, 2024, and includes no analysis of economic benefits or tax revenues, while Paris 2024 organizers disputed attributing some cost to the event. the audit estimates 2.77 billion euros for event organization and 3.19 billion euros for infrastructure, with the local organizing committee reporting a 4.4 billion euro cost and 76 million euro surplus. Tony Estanguet noted public money saved by not hosting would be less than the 6 billion euros cited, and Pierre Moscovici estimated final cost between 3 and 5 billion euros for the state. The court calls for the state's evaluation of the game's wider impacts without delay, while more detailed reports on costs and legacy will be published on October 2025 and 2026.
Any initial thoughts?
Well, I will say this. I will give the organisers credit for trying their best to cut down costs and using the surrounding environment in Paris to host the games. Because the last few editions of the Olympics, with the exception of being London 2012, the organisers of previous Olympic Games, both summer and winter, well, mostly summer, they went way over budget for what they had to organise the games. With London 2012, the stadium that was used to host the games as a whole, mainly with track and field events, that became what is now the new home for West Ham United, a soccer football club. And as for Paris 2024 Summer Olympics, they just use the surrounding environments and hosted games that's mostly in the public space. You can be outside and watch the games happening. And although it's not a massive achievement in cutting down costs, it is a decent attempt, and I will give them credit for that because what they did is use whatever environments they currently have around and use that as to host the Olympics, which is actually this is pretty good. It's really refreshing and interesting to see different events being hosted out in the open and in familiar locations around Paris. I would love to see future editions of the Olympics, both summer and winter, like using their natural surroundings and reusing current facilities that they have right now, and not just spending billions to build the facilities just for the Olympics and then just leave them to rot many decades down the line, which we have seen with Athens, Rio, and I'm not sure about China, but I haven't heard too much about what Beijing had their facilities after they hosted, but I know China has have their facilities reused to some extent afterwards. So yeah, it's very very costly hosting the Olympics to begin with.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think you said all. I think you said all of it. It's like you're absolutely right. I do give them. I do definitely give them. I especially give them credit for like wanting to save, and like with all that they've done. But yeah, like you pretty much said it all there. Yeah, like with that being said, like there's not really much for me to say. So with
Yeah.
that being said, yeah, like let's move on to the next story.
All right then. Let's see. Brazilian woman unalived falling into Indonesian volcano while hiking.
What? Wait,
Yeah. No, that's actually the headline. A Brazilian tourist, Juliana Marins, aged 27, fell off a cliff while hiking Mount Rinjani in Indonesia on June 21st and was found dead on June 20th.
Wait, so she hiked on a volcano, then fell in it?
Yes,
Well, that's stupid. Why would you hike on a volcano? I mean, obviously it's sad that she died.
it's very unfortunate.
it's very unfortunate, but why would you hike on a volcano? Like, bro, bro, my life is not, bro. It's like, why would you hike on a volcano? That's what I would like to know.
I will give them the exception if the volcano in question hasn't erupted in decade or even a century, fair enough, and possibly may not erupt in another 100 years. But a volcano that's seismically active, that is a massive no. I will say that. That's why I put the foot down. If the volcano is actively seismically active, I would not go on that volcano whatsoever. Any other volcano that won't erupt in the next 100 years, then fair enough. But even then, I do wonder, how does one accidentally fall into the volcano? Like, what safeguards are even in place to prevent tourists or hikers from accidentally falling down the volcano?
Why would you even let a tourist go that far up to the volcano? It's like
Well,
it's one thing to hike on it, fine, but why would you let them go that far?
maybe there are a few people that are very adventurous and want to take risks and want to witness the volcanic lava that's within the volcano. But
What are you
listen,
trying to
yeah,
make? What are you trying to make with that lava?
I mean,
Some
honestly, I have no idea.
some.
I do not. I have nothing.
What do they want to do with the lava? Make some burgers, huh? Bro, it's like there's no reason why you should be going up that far to the volcano whatsoever. But hey, that's just me though. That's just me. That's just me. I don't have any reason to go that far up to a volcano. Nor do I want to go up to that to like to like that volcano. Like, bro, my life is not that boring. Like, I do not need that much of a thrill in my life. Well, I can go into an abandoned cave or an abandoned or in any abandoned place, an abandoned anything anywhere that's abandoned, even an abandoned church. Like, if I want to feel excitement in my life, but I'm not going all the way up to a volcano to do something like that.
It's
Like,
just not worth it.
it's really not.
But as for that woman, rest in peace.
Yeah,
Although I will say that it is, well, although stupid, although it is dangerously stupid to get close to a volcano for whatever reason, a life has been lost. And her family, hearing about this, they will be devastated. And all we can say is, for moments like this, when a life has been lost, we send our condolences.
yeah. Of course, we send our condolences to the lady and her family for the loss of her. We send our condolences to like not only the lady, but like to her family for the loss of someone they loved and appreciated. There's no point in calling her dumb or stupid. Her decision was dumb and stupid, but I'm not gonna call her dumb and stupid. People are just like people. Some people just make reckless. Actually, no, that's a better word. Reckless decisions. It's better that it's better. It's like people. There's certain people who just make reckless decisions like that, and yeah, um, she unfortunately made a reckless decision that cost her her life. So our condolences are to her family, friends, and anyone else who loved her and appreciated her. But yeah. Is there anything else in the news?
It is us.
All right, peace.
Peace.